Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. Don't know what day it is. Well, no, I do. It's June 2nd, and it is officially Pride Month. And I am taking a minute this morning to talk to you about my story, because I never do that unless you're sitting with me in circle or we're having coffee or wine, and then I'm like, blah, here's all the things. And there's a reason for that. But today I feel, right in the middle of Mercury retrograde, like it would be a really good time for me to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm just gonna start talking, and as I'm talking, if you want to interrupt me with some questions, you do that. So it starts off with boxes. I have, since I can remember being alive, wanted nothing more than to fit inside a box. I just wanted a place to belong that felt right, that felt like me, that felt safe, and that would give me just that sense of being able to relax in my own body and trust the energy around me. And I could not find that box ever. So growing up, my mom got into what I'm going to call a religious cult. We were Jehovah's Witnesses for a while. And due to that experience, during my my youngest time, I was not able to be like all my other friends or even associate with them when they had birthday parties or holidays or anything like that. So I would watch, all of my friends and people around me doing Christmas and all of the other things and Easter egg hunts and Halloween, and I would just feel like so left out and so sad that I couldn't do those things. And it just kind of added to that feeling of otherness and not belonging anywhere. Because while I was not belonging there, I also was not belonging in the congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses either. And when I say I was young, I mean I was young. I think we started in there when I was like 6 or 7. I was always asking questions because I couldn't just accept anything that anyone was telling me, which now we know why. But they would say something and I would think to myself, well, that doesn't make sense. And then I'd ask a question and nobody would answer my question. They would answer my question with like, oh, you're so cute, or, ask another question like, where's your mother? Shouldn't you go find her? That kind of thing. And it made me feel even more disconnected and sad. And as I grew up, we left that Jehovah's Witness situation when I was about 13. As I grew up, all I wanted was to find the box to get into. So I wanted religion because I watched those around me really immersed in their religion. And I had one of my best friends during that time of my life was in a Catholic family, and I loved all of the rituals, and I loved the prayer books, and I loved the churches, and I loved how her mother believed unequivocally in her faith and how she just threw herself into that, and everything in her life just made sense to her. I wanted that because nothing made sense to me ever at all. So as I got older and, still hadn't found that box to pop myself into, when I went to college, I said, you know what, I'm going to figure out what religion I'm going to get myself into, because when I am a grown-up person and I have kids one day, I want to be able to give them a religion that I can feel good about and that they can just relax into and trust and feel good about and have traditions. Well, I started college and started doing religious study, and I could not find one religion that their inception point was not based around some sort of genocide of another people. And that did not work for me. And so I'm like, I need to find something that doesn't kill people. And I couldn't find one. So I let that go and decided to major in creative writing instead. And I say all of this to tell you that, again, all of my life, I have been trying to find a box that I fit in. I met my now husband when I was very young. I think I was 21 when I met him. And I was off this crazy adventure. I'd just gotten back to the States after living abroad on an island for about a year. And I was just doing my thing. And so we got together when I was pretty young. So I've been with the same person for a very long time. It never honestly occurred to me that I might be a little bit gay, because I never really had any time to think about it, even though I went to the gayest college in the United States. I started my college career off at Sarah Lawrence, and I literally watched my friends turn into lesbians because that's what you did at Sarah Lawrence, except me, not even at all interested. So, fast forward, I get married, I have kids, and again, I'm trying to fit into the box. All I was trying to do was be a perfect mother, a perfect wife, keep my house clean, hang out with my friends, do the play dates. I thought if I had all those things, I would finally relax and I would have made it, because that's what my family told me that I needed to do, that I would finally get there if I worked hard at it. I worked hard at it for so many years. And at one point, and this is when I had my biggest spiritual awakening. My youngest, who's now like almost 8, so he was new. He was like a year and a half old, let's say. And so I had him, and then I had his brother, who's only 22 months older. So I had 2 little babies, and they had finally lined up with their naps, and I was freaking exhausted, So I said, you know what? This Deepak Chopra guy keeps popping up on Facebook. Maybe I should start meditating. So you thought I was just telling you a coming out story, but it's actually my whole life story. So, but it all come together. So anyway, I started doing these guided meditations on I think it was Spotify or something, whatever he had on there. And I would sit during the nap time that would coincide, and I would meditate, because I just, I needed to get myself out of my funk, and I was super depressed. Nothing made me happy. I was exhausted, and I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. So I started doing this meditation, and that started to move energy. And you know how when you look back at things with your perspective, things started to make a little more sense. I can see now, looking back at then Sarah, that I was in a place of rock bottom. I was drinking a lot. I was super unhappy. I could not find motivation to do anything. I was just plunking along. And sitting down with myself and opening myself energetically like that, and actually allowing my higher self to connect with me, started to do something, and it started to move that energy. It started to activate something in me that had just not been activated in a long, long time. And so during that process, I started to feel movement, an energy and all this stuff. And one day when I was doing it, I had this feeling of somebody coming up behind me and hugging me. And when that happened, I immediately started to cry and felt this overwhelming rush of emotion, and I knew it was my grandfather. Plot twist, I've never met my grandfather because he died before I was born, but I knew it was him. I knew it was him. So during that time, crazy shit just started happening. Not the best crazy shit, but it taught me a lot of things, and we could talk about that another time. But I'm fast forwarding a little. That was when the energy started moving through me, and I started to kind of say what am I doing over here? So all of that happened, right? And life started picking up momentum. I decided to get into Reiki and get Reiki certified. I attended yoga teacher training, and really started to move and try to seek what I needed. And at this time, my husband was 100% supporting of everything I was doing. He just wants me to be happy at the end of the day. We went through a rough period of time, I think around 2015, where I think I sat down with him and I was like, I don't think we have anything in common. I don't really know what to do. And we kind of glitched, and then we smoothed it out. But it's always been there, there's just what is it? So I was finding myself doing the things. I then eventually woke up one morning, because we were living on the other side of town, and had a cute little house in a little suburban neighborhood, all the things. And I said to him one morning, I'm like, we need to move. We need to go get a farmhouse and have some land. And he was just like, but here we are, right? So here I am, and this is where I'm gonna get to my point. So I ended up here at the schoolhouse, and I had started my business, Sarah Mala Yoga and Meditation. That's what it was called before. I thought I was gonna be doing yoga with kids. I thought, you've met me. I think I'm doing something and I change my mind all the time. It's just part of what I do. But got here, and this house, no chill at all energetically. It swooped me up and was like, oh, you want to do some things? Let's do some things, girl. And so I started doing events. I started doing events here at the schoolhouse, and I had gotten to a place where everything was like really good. I'm okay. And I had, and this is a kind of a left turn, but it's also relevant. For me as a person back then, it's even difficult to even like reach back there because I'm so different now, but it wasn't that long ago. It's like 3 years ago. I had no sexual feelings at all. I couldn't remember the last time that I felt like a sexual being. I felt super disconnected from my body. I had never lost the weight from having Justin, and I just felt massive and gross and unappealing, and I felt like that part of my life was over about being a sexual being, and so I was just gonna leave it. I'm done trying, because I had tried hormone therapy, a million different diets, like all kinds of things to try to get myself balanced so that I'd feel desire again, but it didn't work. So I had let it go, but started doing these events, and one day a person came to one of my events, and it was just this moment of like, oh no, like, what is this? Am I attracted to this? And I was. And that sparked basically I don't even know what to call it, but it just totally turned my life upside down, because here I am, just started a new business, got this house, got my family, everything's great. And then I'm over here saying like, am I gay? Like, is that it? And as soon as the words entered into my field, I knew. It was like, fuck, like, this is the most inconvenient yet life-giving information I have ever received in my life. And it was horrible, like horrible, because as I sorted through that on my own at first, I realized, this has been the thing that has, one of the things that has made me feel completely out of alignment with myself, because I'm trying so hard to live in a box that I don't belong in. And me as a person, I don't do boxes. Like, I don't live in boxes. So I can't do it. So I'm having this crisis internally, and then it finally got to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna have to talk to my husband, because what the fuck. So I did, and here's the kicker, and some of you who've experienced this as well will probably relate. When I told him, he was not actually surprised. In fact, nobody I've told has been surprised at all. They were just kind of like, yeah. And in fact, when I told my sister, she was just like, do you even remember yourself in high school? You were just stomping around with your buzzed hair that was dyed burgundy and your Doc Martens listening to Ani DeFranco all day long. And I was like, well, if all you guys knew, it would have been great if you had just maybe let me know, because, whatever. It is what it is at this point. So anyhow, that sparked huge change for me. And this was 2019, so it was not very long ago. Because even though he was not surprised, he also didn't see how we were going to work this out, because, it didn't make any sense to him. And at that point, that was the beginning of me realizing these things. And the first thing that happened was I had a person to talk through all of my feelings with. And this was the person who basically, took my hand and walked me into the gay community, so to speak, so I thought. And helped me with any questions that I had and made me feel, that it was okay and that what I was going through was normal, and, was just there to answer my millions of freaking questions and like, what does this mean? What does that mean? So my husband and I separated, and it was horrible. And I had to leave my beautiful schoolhouse, and I went to live in Harrisburg, and we stayed separated for, I want to say at least 6 months. And during that time, I was not busy. I decided to start a whole new business. So it was when the Wellness Collective was created. But again, I was in the middle of a divorce and had to support myself. I had no money. We were not in any position like for delightfulness in that when that's concerned. And it was very stressful for me. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I need to learn who this person is. I need to understand this, right? So I went through that period of time, and it was transformative, and some parts were amazing and some parts were not amazing. But as we moved into September and October, something happened within me, and I realized that I missed my husband. And it wasn't like I miss being like the old Sarah, but it was like it didn't feel right for us to be living apart and to be at odds with each other the way that we were. It didn't feel good to me. I missed him. And as soon as I realized that, it shifted everything again, because the person who was my person about all things in this way and had been with me through my journey all this time was incredibly critical about that energy, and basically informed me that it was incredibly privileged, inauthentic, and damaging to the gay community for me to say that I am a non-heterosexual woman when I have decided to stay married to a man. And I believed it. So I just kept quiet. And that's what I've been kind of doing, unless you are directly in contact with me, because I was so terrified of being the opposite of an ally, or being an asshole, or flaunting my privilege around, because that's the narrative that was told to me. And I have such a problem with it now. And I'm so grateful for the experience, because it's really shown me that we all have different perspectives. We all have, our different traumas that we've experienced in our lives. But if you are around somebody who is constantly criticizing you and constantly telling you that you're not authentic because you're not doing things the way they say that you should do them, that's kind of a red flag, right? So over the past few months, as I have, we've all been shifting and upgrading and shedding things, I've been shedding my guilt and my shame for my choices. And here's the thing. I don't know what is going to happen with me next week, next month, next year. I don't know what my life is going to look like, and I don't need to. But this energy is not supportive of dissonance. I've been saying this to you, and I keep telling you, I'm here with you, literally having to deal with this BS too, because I can't live like that anymore. I can't walk around and pretend to be a straight woman, even though, I'm married to a man. I am married to a man. And it's crazy, but at the same time, it's not conventional. We've been talking so much about the love bubbles, and that's exactly what my life is right now. It is a lot of different love bubbles. I have needs that are being met by different people, and I'm done being shamed for that. Because how can you love a person and shame them for the choices that feel most aligned with their souls? And I will tell you one other thing. In that first month, when I realized that I'm so very gay, the first thing that hit me like a freaking brick wall was the realization of the fact that I could, as a woman in this time period, have the luxury of space and time and safety to explore this without being in physical harm, not worrying about my physical safety, not worrying about my family, not worrying about being seen as this like disgusting monster to everybody around me. I see that, but I'm not going to call that privilege. I'm going to call that an honor, okay? Because it hit me so hard, because everyone before me who couldn't do that, right? All of those people who couldn't do that, do you really think that they would be begrudging? Do you really think that they would be begrudging the fact that I didn't have to worry about my safety when they did? That's not what growth looks like. That's not what evolution looks like. That's not what shifting the narrative looks like. So it's not privilege, it's an honor. It is an honor that has been given to us by all of those who have come before us. And it's my honor to speak freely about it, isn't it? It's my honor to live my life in a way that feels good to me. It's my honor to say, today, this is who I am, and I can change my mind tomorrow, and that's okay too. You know, in the beginning, again, always looking for labels and boxes, there are so many labels, right? And if the labels feel good for you and they help you, then awesome. But for me, it felt like as soon as I found one, then I had to be that. And I couldn't just be that because it didn't make sense for me. So for me, I know that my sexuality is incredibly fluid. I know that I am a person who connects with other people's energies. And if your energy is connecting with me in a way that opens me up and I want to connect deeper, that's what I'm gonna do. It feels like such an amazing step backwards to impose our own limiting beliefs on those around us. It seems like another tool of patriarchy, and it seems like a horrible shame for anybody to be giving their energy to that machine anymore. So it's easy for us to say, you know, love is love, and love who you love, I don't care, and all those things. A lot of us have zero experience with being discriminated for our sexual preferences, right? But remember, and this is something that I had to remember as well, because I was so caught up in the traumatic idea that I was being disrespectful. I'm not a white woman. I've always been a brown person. Growing up, I didn't have any community around me that ever looked like me. I grew up in a predominantly white area. I am half Indian and half Puerto Rican, and both of my parents emigrated here. They're first generation. So I am not in that demographic of, you know, privilege that is so easily ascribed to me for some reason. And yet, I give myself all the crap, all of the guilt, all of the shame. And I take that and I wear it. But I'm not doing that for one more second. I don't need to explain or defend myself. I don't need to give you examples of hardships that I have experienced in order to validate my choices today. That is completely unnecessary. I won't do that, and I wouldn't expect you to do that. You're allowed to live your life. And you know what? If you don't have to struggle and feel pain about your decisions, I'm gonna be happy for you, not mad. Because what's the point of overcoming struggle and changing paradigms if we expect everybody in front of us to turn around, give us tokens, and then carry our trauma with them into new energy? It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, so I'm here super queer, and married to a man. And I am not going to pretend or be quiet about that anymore. I will not give anyone the ability to shame me for my choices that are most in alignment with my soul. I am here for my own evolution and for the evolution and upgrade of this planet. I know what I'm doing. I know that everything that I do from this point on is gonna feel that much better because I have had this moment today and I have told you guys that this is who I am. It sucks when the people we love can't support us or see us for who we are. However, it does not suck when the people who see you step up and start supporting you. And there are so many more of those people in my life than of the other kind that it becomes rather irrelevant, it occurs to me. So I am happy. I am excited to be a part of this community. And I would love it if any of you would like to share your story this month during Pride Month on this platform. So contact me if you want to tell your story or you know somebody who you think I should interview. It's really easy to be on a podcast with me. I'm very good at talking and I can totally carry the conversation if you get nervous. But the more exposure we get to fresh stories, the more we can upgrade our narrative and get rid of all of the people who are saying bullshit things. A friend told me, and she's listening now, so thank you for this. A friend told me that it's always the people who are in that hateful narrative, for the most part, who speak the loudest. They get out there and they say those things, and then we just kind of sit back and say, I don't want to add my energy to that narrative, right? I don't want to get into a fight. I don't want to be in that mix. But that means there's only one narrative out there. That means that no one's getting the full picture. And while it's not my responsibility to create that full picture, I've kind of positioned myself as a person who says things and has thoughts and shares them. So it did feel like I needed to say something because it's not cool to be quiet and to allow somebody else to make you feel bad about yourself and to spread lies and to make you feel like you are less than because of the choices that are best for you and your family in this moment. So I'm opening up this platform. Let me know if you would like to have a chat because this whole month long and every other month, quite honestly, but this month especially, I think it would be nice to hear some new stories. I think it would be nice to hear from the people who don't usually say anything. Because the people who don't usually say anything are the ones now who are going to become our leaders. Because the people who have been running their mouths for centuries, we're tired of it. The platform is going back to the ground and it's time for other people to step up and use their voices. I have noticed in the work that I've been doing with you guys for the past few years that it's always the most magical and insightful and amazing of people who feel like they don't want to take up too much space and don't want to take energy away from anyone else and don't want to impose their thoughts and beliefs on anyone. And they're the ones who we actually want to hear from. So step up, let's speak. I know Mercury's in retrograde. I actually don't care. This feels like a wonderful use of the throat chakra. Let's unblock it. Let's speak our stories. Let's not be shamed. When we're quiet, we give power, right? We give power to anyone who wants to keep us small. And here's the last thing I'm going to say about that. I have always been afraid of my own bigness, 100%. And I will always, I have always historically found people to have in my life who will keep me small, who will make me feel just that much bad about myself so I don't completely unfurl my wings. So done with that narrative. And now that I have people in my life who not only are like, yeah, go get it, girl, but they're like fanning the flames or like, make it hotter, make it hotter. It is the best feeling ever. And I want everyone to feel how that's like because that's what New Earth is all about. Fanning each other's flames. Just because I'm burning bright doesn't mean you don't get to burn bright. There's nobody like me anywhere, and there's nobody like you anywhere. So live your life in your unique pattern, vibrance, abundance, resonance, whatever feels good to you. And trust that the people that you need in your corner and around you will find you, because you'll be shining so bright they literally can't miss you. So thank you for being here with me today. I love you so much. I'm going to put my hand like this so I can edit it out, and then I'm looking at comments. Boom. Okay, let me see. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Zoe. So Zoe says, because you can't read it here, that her parents are divorced because her father is gay, and it was the right decision for them, and she's so grateful that her dad can be himself. 100%. 100%. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you so much for your continued support. One of the things that I am incredibly grateful for with this community, and with you guys especially, is that you allow me not to make my own boxes. You allow me to fully express myself, to have all my crazy ideas, and you follow my bouncing ball so great. And I just hope that in that process, I'm giving you something back that is helping you, that is supporting you, and that is giving you some insight into your own magic, because that is what I want. I am living my best life now because I am every day making decisions that support who I am as a person. And I want that for all of you guys too. And I know all you guys are doing it, and I see it and feel it. And that's why restoration is changing, because we've changed. We don't need what we needed last year. We just need the little support here and there, and we need the community, right? So we're kicking ass. I'm so, so, so proud of us. And thank you so much for holding this space. I love you guys so, so much. And if this has helped you, if you've enjoyed it, please share. I will be putting it on YouTube, and if I got around to it, the podcast as well. But I want to get this message out. I'm not hiding anything anymore. And yeah, sending you guys lots of love. I'm not pulling a card right now. I'm not really feeling that, but I'll be back Thursday night. We're going to be doing the channeling, and then I'll be back Friday with the energy update. I love you guys so much. Happy Pride Month. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and follow.